Really, the best thing is to start with the comment section. Actually, this is a really good first comment. The last virtue of a dying society is tolerance. She doesn't really want kindness, referring to Rachel Zegler versus Gina Carano for the pronoun fight. She wants tolerance for evil. Kindness doesn't forsake and contradict the truth. Very cool. So click the link to join the channel here over at subscribe so I get a mailbox if you want to mail me some comic books or pocket knives or whatever cool. So Rachel Zegler, who is a dumb twat and an NPC, versus Gina Carano, who seems to be an independent thinker and kind of an interesting character. So Zegler's famous quote is, she goes, "I hope the world becomes kinder." And then when somebody points out a time when she was not so kind, she immediately blocks them. It's weird when you disagree with the alt-left or you won't get on board with their narrative. They freeze, then they get angry, and they immediately ad hominem and strawman. They really have not been taught how to think for themselves. So what happened is Disney is about to have another monster bomb by way of the future Snow White. And if you say anything about it, you're an istophobic Hugo Boss, because that's all the Twitter NPCs have been programmed to say. They really don't know any other response because they don't know how to engage in rational discourse and disagreement without becoming disagreeable. Everything has to be the ad hominem label of istophobe or fashionable. And I'm sure Hugo Boss is very fashionable. I get most of my t-shirts from car shows. The gaudier, the better. I also wear Birkenstocks with black socks. Not even kidding. So Rachel Zegler seems to be insane, which is par for the course in Hollywood. She's given these interviews with Gal Gadot about the upcoming Disney bomb, Snow White, and it seems that she hates the story, she hates men, and she really loves herself. People have pointed out that both Gadot and Zegler are of Middle Eastern by ethnicity and not German, and neither one are fair, as the story literally describes. It's Snow White. It's in the name. It's a European story. It's based on the people from that area. And, it's weird. They go halfway with this Frankfurt School stuff. Why not just get two Japanese actors to play the roles? I mean, get somebody who's totally foreign to the story. Instead, they get these two girls who are not European, but they're also not as far off as like Nigerian actors would be. Disney is so slippery in their subversive activities. And, I'm sure they'll do a fine job as actors, and the tech side of the production will be perfect. Everything's going to be in the right place, except for the actors in the role and the diversion from the German storyline, which is, it's the story. They do this all the time. It's the story in name only. And there's like dozens of examples where you've changed so much about the story. The only thing is the name recognition to get the audience in the door. The Lord of the Rings of Power is a great example for that, because that was such a monster hit, both the books and the Peter Jackson movies. And then Amazon comes out with Ring of Power, and it's like, nobody's watching it because it's not Lord of the Rings. It's you fundamentally change too much of the core to be it. So this is from the 1812 Brothers Grimm story and put into film by Disney in 1937, back when Disney was just kicking out. From the 30s to, the 90s, 2000, Disney was on top of the world, and ultimately it's going to be destroyed by the Bolshevik Disney in, I don't know, whenever it comes out, probably in a couple months. So Zegler is, I think someone's sending me tickets or going to send me money to go see this movie. If you want me to go see a movie, pay for the ticket and the popcorn. I will go see it and review it that night, because the theater is right down the street. So Zegler does these interviews, and she poops all over the movie that she wants people to see. And I got to say, the reaction to her, the backlash, has been way bigger and much sweeter than I expected. People either really don't like her for some reason because she's a filthy see you next Tuesday, or they're in general getting tired of Disney's anti-white race swapping or wokeism in general. Oh no, Hollywood's on strike. Now you have to listen to alternative perspectives on YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, and BitChute. Yeah, I think Hollywood should just keep striking forever. The studios could literally hold out for years. Everyone would just go find other work out of the industry, and they'd hire new NPCs to write the bullshit programming, whatever their masters, their string pullers tell them to say is like, oh, suddenly we're all on board the exact same ideas and parodying these same words and phrases. Gosh, that's weird. It's weird when the media is controlled by like a half a dozen companies and they all have the same party line. Oh, that's not really the media. That's just Pravda levels of propaganda. Anyway, so Zegler is getting destroyed on social media. People are really getting sick of Hollywood and actors and Hollywood in general. I mean, they're putting out cancer. They insult the audience, and they get offended when people don't watch what is literally, by definition, propaganda. Little Mermaid would have been a hit if they just used a red-haired girl from Northern Europe. No, we're going to erase all European people from movies and replace them. So Zegler, who seems like she writes poems to herself about herself and probably has a lot of mirrors in her house, is getting some feedback on social media. So Gina Carano pops in there to remind her that Zegler wasn't too kind to Gina not too long ago when the pronoun kerfluffle was going on. The bullshies at Disney wanted her to use pronouns in her bio, and she didn't want to, as should be her right. The whole concept deals with the bullshit left compelling speech and redefining language to the point now where the left and right have different definitions for words, or where a United States Supreme Court judge can't define woman as adult human female because she can't think for herself without the puppet masters feeding her talking points, which is the three branches of government. Yeah, that's one of the justices. It should be terrifying to more people. And it's weird how people are really happy with the bread and circuses and like trying to awaken people. And I know how the hubris of like, who are you to try to spread this message? Someone has to. So Gina didn't want to use pronouns in the BLT. And you know what? Like, I know people want to hear this message more so on BitChute and Odyssey, not so much on the YouTube because the censorship is so crazy, because they financially support it on Subscribestar and the other platforms. So it's like, I know the message matters because people are paying for it. I mean, that's like the ultimate show of support. Way to shield there, buddy. Anyway, so the Twitter activists are harassing her and dogpiling in a hate campaign to force her to speak words that she didn't want to utter. And nobody on the left stood up and said, hold on, what we're doing is compelling speech. When did that become acceptable to do? It became acceptable when the left gained power, but if the right was compelling speech, the left loses their mind every time that issue comes up. Like with the Merry Christmas issue, these people go crazy over. It's like, no one's forcing you to say these things. We're not dogpiling on you to say that kind of stuff. But the left is dogpiling people and trying to get them canceled and fired and evicted and debanked and kicked out of rental car companies, hotel companies, if they disagree with the left in any capacity whatsoever. And they just seem to be okay with that. Anyway, so Zegler's going on this pronoun campaign, and she's telling people to jump. Yeah, great. You're on board. I support the current thing, guys. On board the pronoun fad, which is all it is. It's not going to be around in 30 years. It's just a social experiment by the puppet masters to see how much control they can exert over the cattle. Quite a bit, as it turns out, unfortunately. They're getting people to remove their kids' ability to bud the next branch. It's some pretty powerful brainwashing when you can get the sheep to remove themselves. So Gina was being attacked by truly toxic, dangerous alt-left soy boys and blue-haired, tattooed, nose-pierced cat ladies. Hey, what if she believes in using biologically accurate pronouns, as do 99% of the planet? Is she allowed to hold her beliefs and speak her truth? Or will the alt-left activists work endlessly to cancel her? They always have the option of just letting other people live their life and go in peace, accepting that different people hold different beliefs. Isn't diversity of thought their strength? Not so much. Not so much in their worldview. If you're not in lockstep with them, you must be destroyed. Anyway, so Gina reminds Zegler that she did a hate campaign against her over the pronoun thing. And Zegler responds like an adult and engages in no, she just blocks her because she's unable to engage in the marketplace of ideas. They never can because they have bad ideas that, I think that lost like $100 million because they did it in Spanish. They have bad ideas that can't be defended. It's really that simple. It's why they can't meme. They have to censor and deplatform. The right wants their ideas to be heard. They want a big platform to talk. And to talk to the left also, because the right fundamentally has better ideas and they don't fear that spotlight. The left does. The left has to censor and deplatform. The right is always asking for left-wing people to come on their shows and talk, and the left won't do it because of that, because they fundamentally have bad ideas that result in well-fertilized fields and bone gardens throughout history. And they go, either we'll do it differently this time, or those people needed to go. They needed to get out of the way. And you're like, 200 million people needed to go? So is it true if the right says the exact same thing, but they say it about these other groups of people? Oh, no. Those are fashionable people. But you're saying the same thing you're saying the same thing. Or they go, the other argument is, we'll do it differently now. But they also don't go on the shows if, but then couldn't the right say that? They're like, we'll do it differently if we're in charge this time. The right people just have to be in charge. Right people suspiciously are going to look like us. The other reason they won't go on these shows and talk and like try to get their ideas out in the marketplace is because the left wing will cancel them. Like, oh, yikes, my guy, bad luck. You're normalizing these far right extremists, and the far right extremists who have these podcasts and YouTube shows that we're referring to are like right way middle of the road type of people. There are no far right extremists on YouTube. There's nobody on the far right on YouTube. They're all kicked off by the latest at 2018. They're all on Odyssey, BitChute, Gab TV, World Truth Video, and a bunch of other platforms. There's nobody on the far right on YouTube. They're talking about these very moderate people who I look at and go like, yeah, they're probably left of center, like Sargon of Akkad, who is over the past 10 years have been slowly moving to the right. Kind of interesting transformation. But like they get mad at some of these shows that will talk to right-wing people who are off the platform and left-wing people and try to talk to as many people as possible because they don't want their ideas out there. They go, if these right-wing ideas are so bad, you, like an adult, would hear them and mock them and lampoon them. But the left-wing ideas are so bad, it's like that is what's happening. They are getting, because they've been tried historically. They are, I mean, I know this is like Zegler and Carano, it's like talking about Hollywood, but, involving like past 100 years of history, but it's like this is all the aspect of the culture war. This compelled speech is, I think, fundamentally the issue, if I understand it right. That concept of compelling speech, compelling thought, compelling actions, compelling the way you see the world by redefining words, which the left has been doing to the point now where it's a Tower of Babel situation where the left and right like I get in discussions with people for the male and female and man and woman type of discussions about the BLT issues. I'm polite. I'm polite. I never insult people. I never ad hominem people on social media in these discussions. But I say, oh well, okay. It just seems like we have fundamentally different definitions of these words, and there's no counter argument to that because they just say, yeah, I guess that's the situation. We just define things differently. So when the right and left is talking to each other, because they there's so much you can't say on YouTube because YouTube is very silly these days. But Odyssey and BitChute Odyssey, BitChute, Rumble are pretty solid. And there's like Shing TV, and I think Fuentes has got a Cozy TV platform, and there's a bunch of alt platforms and Twitter. If Twitter like gets everything incorporated, it's like it really could be the one app. I mean, it's not going to be a free speech free for all like World Truth Video or BitChute or Odyssey or something, but it certainly would be better than YouTube because YouTube now is like for unboxing, for like pretty girls with big boobs who are playing Ozzy Osbourne riffs or Slash riffs, and they're in short skirts and they're just playing these riffs, and it's just great. Or they do unboxing videos or makeup tutorials. It's like that's what Google wants YouTube to be. Or they want it to, the speak the party line kind of stuff where people are just sick of that. Like the more people get off YouTube to any other platform, the better. It'd be great if people would do it en masse. But it's like there's just too much money for in these platforms for them. So they have to wait until they get kicked off. It's like you get kicked off as individuals, you don't have any power. At least there are some people, Comicsgate, Phantom Menace, people who do have Rumble, Odyssey live streams. I think that is a great idea. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on next episode.